So I had recently been watching this one of the videos posted by Hugo Talks. I often watch the stuff he puts out, and if you look at that, in my estimation, he kind of falls under the category of those people who I was referring to in that other video with regards to creating custom-made deceivers. Now, I'm not questioning the things he says. The things he says are very good and very interesting. He's very articulate guy, well spoken, and he puts out things that I agree with. That is similar to my mentality and the mentality of other people, and obviously it resonates with people, right? People like what he says. He says things very truthful, and he talks about deception. He talks about how much deceit there is going on. He talks about all of that stuff, and he does it in a very effective way. So there's no one can. I mean, people who know about these things, these quote unquote truther sort of issues, very few of them would say that he isn't powerful and doesn't have a strong effect, because he's reasonable. He's very reasonable. He's a clear thinker. He encourages people to scrutinize things and people to think critically. And that's a very good thing. And the things that he says are excellent. He does a very good analysis of these things. But then you see, like I noticed, you pick up on things, because one thing you got to realize is with these people who are in occult circles, symbolism, signs and symbolism are very, very important. Within Freemasonry, within various occult circles, symbols are very important, and sending a message without using words. Obviously, for years that has been done by these people, because there was a time when they wanted these things to be more secret. Now they're just coming right out and doing these things openly. But there was a time when it was important for them to utilize things like that, like symbols, just to send a message, right? So with him, I noticed there. I was watching one of his recent videos, and at the end of the video, he just films a bear. It's just footage of a bear, and it's like the outsider would think, okay, what's with that, right? And let's just say this: look into what the bear represents on a deeper level, and what it represents with regards to some disgusting things that you could probably look into and find out what that is. And then, of course, you see like fraud shills like Owen Benjamin, and he calls all his followers the bears, quote unquote, the bears. I mean, it's mockery, right? That's what it is. And they're telling you who they really are by doing that, and thumbing their noses at the people who believe that they are real and legitimate. Now, Hugo Talks, he's not, obviously, he's much, much more believable than Owen Benjamin is, right? Owen Benjamin's purpose is just to kind of act crazy, put out some truthful information, and then mix it in with behaving erratically. Like he's filming 7-hour live streams, drinking, and then starts screaming, and just so they're giving you some truth with him, but then mixing it in with idiocy and someone who is behaving in an erratic manner. But again, every now and then he speaks a little bit of truth too. Now, Hugo Talks just speaks the truth. He's very truthful. He's very convincing. And I'm sure there's going to be people who will say, well, this is ridiculous to say these things. Well, it's not. If you look at it on a deeper level, what they're doing with that bear symbolism, look into it. I'll just say, look into what it represents, and you might get a little bit of a different grasp on that. Put it this way: the people who do those things, none of that is done by accident. None of that is accidental. So when they're showing you symbols and things like that, like when he ends a video and then just films footage of a bear, my estimation, he's in a subtle way, he's mocking the people who believe that he's legitimate, and his rather large audience that has suddenly, he's gotten really big really fast. Not to say that he wasn't putting stuff out and doing things for a few years. He was, for sure. And very few people who can look at the material itself and say that, well, he's a shill or something like that. But when you look at that, little things like that, that's how people within occult circles work, right? They're going to put that symbolism up there, and that is mockery. And In my estimation, that was done with clear intent, showing that bear at the end of that video he recently put out. And again, this is the point, is that what they've done with him is they recognize that this sort of mindset of the quote unquote Christian truther has been growing recently over past few years, right? So they recognize that, and what they're doing is adapting a custom mindset for this person who they want to put out, and they want him to be very believable. They let him speak the truth, let him speak about things that people who are real are actually speaking about, and they know that because, again, that's why they want us to communicate online so much, because people put that out there, right? So they can gauge that, and then they put things out with him, and and then they have him speak very truthful and, you know, come off very believably. Now, I don't think, this is my opinion, and I know there may be a lot of people who will disagree with this. I don't believe he's legitimate, and I don't believe he's sincere when he talks about his recent or whatever over the past year or so coming around to Christianity. I don't believe that's sincere. Based upon various things I've noticed. But again, you have to look at these things on a deeper level, because that's the way these people operate. They operate on a deeper level in terms of, well, certainly you have to just come right out and say it. Intellectually, they operate on a higher level than a lot of people. Like, you can obviously, there's a lot of horrible things that go on as a result of these people and their evil acts, but they are intelligent. These are very intelligent people, and they operate on that level where deception is fine. Deception is okay, and even again, the most effective deception is creating a person who is very believable and putting them out there, and that is done, I believe. Now, I don't hear very many other people talking about this. I believe it is done. They put it out there because they want to see who is watching the material. And it doesn't matter if you have a VPN. We all, like most of us, use VPNs anyway. They can still figure out who you are, right? Now, if you look back, a few years back, that video that with, I think it was David Goldberg or something, or Gold something or other. He put out that video talking specifically about that, how it was a quote-unquote honeypot operation where all the video sites, they were putting these things out to find out who was viewing the material, and that they had plans for these people, that they had plans for them. And he said, if you're watching this material, they want to know who you are. And he spoke about specific shills in that, and their purpose. You can look that up. I've posted it before. He spoke about that. Now, and then suddenly you hear it's supposedly it's David Goldberg's final words, and then supposedly he turned up dead. Now, that's nonsense. He didn't turn. I don't believe that for 1 second. He turned up dead, but I do believe they wanted to put out some truthful information with him, which is a lot of. They will do that. They will put the truth out there because they want some people to know this, right? They want some people to know what they're doing because it gives them a sense of power. It gives them a sense of power over you if you know what the person who is attacking you and doing these things is doing. And they're not keeping it a secret. That's why they put out videos of all the false flags and how they're being staged. They want people to see that. It's not a case of them, in reality, wanting it all censored, because they put it out there themselves. They put it out there, you'll see it, then you'll see CNN or whatever, this crap, and you'll see the reality of it. But then they'll put it out there, they'll put the truth out there, but then they'll say, if you speak the truth, you're a liar, whatever. Again, if you speak the truth, you will be called a liar, and there'll be repercussions. So war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is bliss, just like in 1984 by Orwell. Everything is an inversion, and you have to believe lies, and that's what's going on right now. So digressing a little bit here with what I'm talking about, but if you look at Hugo Talks, few things I noticed with him, but he does speak truthfully. No one who really knows about these issues can deny that they have given you in him someone who comes off as very, very believable. But I would just say look into that bear symbolism and what it represents. And he didn't put that in there by accident. Not at all. That was done with intent for sure. So yeah, look into that. So this controlled opposition strategy of bringing out very believable people, and in some cases bringing about just disinfo people to act crazy. This strategy of creating your own enemies is very effective, because if you create your own enemies, you can portray them in any way that you want to. And that is exactly what they're doing. Well, it's what they do with all of these things, the people, the elites and whatnot. But what they're doing with this is the same as what they're doing with the whole quote unquote gang stalking operation. With regards to controlling the narrative on that. So when people go to look into information on this, they're met with all of these people who have been funded, and they control these people who they are portraying as the quote unquote TIs, right? And so when you have that ability to portray your enemies in a way that makes you look good and makes them look like either blithering idiots or people who are unstable or whatever, that's very effective. And that's what, obviously, that's what they do with Alex Jones. They bring him out, they have him act crazy, and then it gives their operation, these evil things that they're doing, they use him to kind of as the fake opposition. And that's the thing, is they use people like that. It's all based around exploitation of human beings. These things are, and people being manipulated. It is a cycle of manipulation. But again, if you create your own enemies, you can portray your enemies in any way that you want to. And if you create the fake quote unquote TIs, then you can just have them look ridiculous and cover up these crimes that are really being committed against people, that are being committed against real people, because that's what's happening with that. That's why I think it's very important. I know I've talked about this before, but I think it's very important to try and get away from using controlled language with regards to that subject matter, at least with regards to quote unquote gang stalking. Because when you use that was created, understand that. This is a term they created knowing that they were going to be committing these crimes against real people, and knowing that people, it would be a double-edged sword, because they also have the internet and people can look into these things. So they already had this fictional world created with these people who, the TIs, quote unquote TIs. And again, that's a word that they created for you. If you're using that term, targeted individual, regularly with regards to yourself, that's language that they created for you. The people who are doing these things, the people who run these operations, they want you to call yourself targeted individual. They want you to use their controlled language, because then what it does is it associates you with these fake enemies that they have created, these fake people, and then they control the narrative completely, because they can just have those people act ridiculous, or have some of them give a little, give some legitimate truth, but then take the narrative in whatever direction they want to, by then suddenly having that person do things that would, that would make the targeted individual, quote unquote, look bad. So when you create your own enemies, you can portray your enemies any way you want to. That is what is being done all around with these operations, whether it be the truther stuff, whether it be the quote unquote gang stalking stuff. That's what they do. And that's why it's so important to these people that we only go to video sites, right? Instead of reading, reading books. And they want you to go to the video sharing sites, because this is what they're doing. And also, like, even if you go to a website now, you want to read something, right away a video will pop up. So again, they're socially engineering you to only want to watch that, to only want to watch videos, not to challenge yourself by reading and focusing. And again, don't get me wrong, like, I like watching videos too, but you should read and you should challenge yourself mentally, but that's what they don't want you to do. That they don't want you to have the ability to think critically and scrutinize things on a deeper level. And there's so much deceit going on now. It's just unprecedented, and yeah, it is very disturbing, to say the least.